All right. I think we're working. I think we're doing it. Hats up, fam. I meant to say what's, but hey. All right. So we're streaming. So, since we're streaming, I also want this to be a useful video for those who don't catch the live stream. Our live stream audience is not huge yet. So I'm just going to start right away with Scorpio season. Welcome in, guys. And yeah, let's just get into it, all right? So we are now in Scorpio season. The sun has entered Scorpio. And I'm using a different microphone here, so I hope the audio is working. But yeah, I'm basically in the dark. I'm just going to roll with it, though. Mercury retrograde, there's likely to be some problems here. But I think it's going well. And so yeah. So what we need to talk about here is what changes when the sun goes into Scorpio. I'm going to get a candle lit. And yeah, I'm your guy. I'll be able to tell you some stuff about that. So first I want to set us up in the season. Why is this Scorpio season? Why did the ancients choose to call it that? It's working. Thank you, Alex. How you doing? Okay, so why did the ancients choose to call this Scorpio season? Why are we in Scorpio season? What's happening in the world in the seasons, right? So first of all, we have to look at the sign of Scorpio. So if we look at the sign of Scorpio, we see that it's a fixed water sign. And a fixed water sign, water rules emotions and it rules the past as two main elements, but it also rules the flow of things, the current of things. And in Scorpio, this flow is fixed. It's held still. So this would show in nature in the form of a well or a pond or a lake, or in piping systems. That's not necessarily nature, but anything where the water is traveling. Namaste, Sherry. Anything where the water is traveling in one direction, that would be Scorpio, because it's fixed in that linear path. So that's the fixed water part of Scorpio. Then we find that it's ruled anciently by Mars and co-ruled or modernly ruled by Pluto. So the reason why it's ruled by Mars is a few different reasons. But if you're wondering why is Scorpio ruled by Mars, the main thing I would tell you is this part of the year, the fixed signs always hold the middle of a season. So right now we're entering the middle of fall. And it's called the fall because the sun falls below the equinox. So the sun is now on its descent down to Capricorn, where it will culminate on the winter solstice, December 21st, at 23.5 degrees south latitude. So the sun will be down in the southern hemisphere. This is why the seasons are flipped, depending if you live in the southern or northern hemisphere, as they're called. So here in fixed fall, in the middle of fall, we're prepping for winter, right? And so the ancients, our ancestors, in this time of year, this will give us an idea why it's ruled by Mars, would be doing some of their last hunting, especially if they lived in northern regions or in a region where they subsisted off of hunting over the winter. Because if you live up north, say in northern Europe or Siberia or northern China or northern North America, like the Inuits and other tribes like that, you're not going to be able to grow or subsist off of vegetation, off of plants and crops for that time. So a lot of our ancestors right now would be doing hunting, which is the Mars ruled coming in. And this is your last time to kill a lot of the bigger game before it hibernates or disappears up into warmer areas before winter. And this is the time when you have to collect those last crops that are in there, the late cycle crops that you've been growing. So it's a lot of action preparing for winter, right? And getting fixed into the fall season where the weather start to get colder. And you have to start lighting fires, which is a Mars thing, in your house if you're in a very cold region. Stuff like that. And not only hunting, this is, if we were on a war campaign, this would be when we would think about closing the campaign and going home. This is the time of year where if we were in the north, or really most of Europe is basically in a region where they're going to get snow, unless you live in Spain and Italy and south like that, because even Switzerland, there's Alps, which is like Central Europe, and there's going to be plenty of snow there. So this is when you're the last of the wartime, of the year is closing. So if you drive your army into winter and you keep trying to progress against your enemy, then you're going to have these food shortage problems that I talked about for the average person who's just doing hunting for his or her family. That's going to be tenfold. Your whole army is going to start to starve and freeze unless you guys have good things. So this is why, another reason why it's Mars ruled, because this is when you would be doing the last of your fighting. And these are just intuitive. I just came up with these. But so you're doing your hunting, you're doing the last of your fighting. And we can take this into a modern context by talking about the fact that if we're just because we're not doing the actual hunting or the last of a real war campaign where we're on the march against an enemy, doesn't mean that that same theme isn't what's going on in our lives right now. We're still consolidating our Scorpio season is still, in the modern era, a good time to consolidate your life, your strategies, how you're implementing your daily routines, and how you're feeling about life. And it's a good time to consolidate, conserve, and to store up those resources, to put them all in their right places, and to take action plans that will set you up for winter, right? And so so that'll set up Scorpio season, but now I want to jump into some stuff that you probably haven't heard. And that I'm going to talk about looking at Scorpio season from another aspect, which is from the sextiles and the trines to Scorpio. Because the sun's in Scorpio, so let's look at which sign sextile and trine. Because sextiles this is a good way to think about sextiles and trines too. Sextiles are actually lunar aspects. And I'm not going to explain why, partially because I don't fully remember, but this is an ancient technique from the Greek time period, from 2,000 years ago and more. And so this undergirds all of the modern astrology that's come after it in order to define what sextiles and trines are. So if we think about sextiles as lunar aspects, as moon-like aspects, and we look at the sextiles to Scorpio, we have Virgo, which is 60 degrees prior, and then we have Capricorn, which is 60 degrees after Scorpio. So this will give us a theme about what we should be doing during this time period. Because sextiles represent beneficial things. Both the sextile and the trine are positive aspects. So if we look at the sextiles to Scorpio in this season, and there are planets in both of these signs, which is very interesting in this current Scorpio season. But if we look at these, then we can start to find even more clues about how we should be acting to best make use of this energy. So if we look at the Virgo sextile first, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is analytical, clever, intellectual. And in Virgo, Mercury finds his exaltation as well, because he's able to take his knowledge and wisdom and to put it into physical effect, to actually practically make it happen. So Virgos are great at actually putting plans into effect, at actually having healthy bodies, at actually doing the things that they conceptualize of. In fact, most Virgos won't even, different from a Gemini, which is also ruled by Mercury, most Virgos don't like to spend time thinking about things that they don't plan to act on. Whereas the Gemini can think about things that they never plan to act on for long periods of time and be more than happy. So this shows us something, and this Virgo and Scorpio are two of the most similar signs. If you were going to relate Scorpio to another sign in the zodiac, Virgo would be up there. It'd be probably number one. Okay? So let's add the Virgoan theme. The Virgo theme will be to keep our health up during this time of the pandemic that's going on, but also during the seasonal change, because as the air and the environment and the amount of sun and the temperature, the wind, all of that changes throughout the seasons. So as all that changes and we start to get less sunlight, we start to get less of these things, we're going to have to tap into using our knowledge about health that we've gathered from this point on. And it's kind of a joke, but for the first time in my life, I'm living in a northern climate, more northern, where we'll actually possibly get snow and cold weather, where I'm from Florida originally. So I've been kind of like almost glamorizing the idea of putting on weight for the winter, because it truly does help if you have a little bit of fat or a little bit of extra muscle, extra skin on your bones, so to speak. So that's something funny for me to think about coming from the South, where you don't have any excuse to really do that in Florida. But in the North, people talk about it like it's normal. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to pack on my 10 pounds of winter weight and start to eat those savory dishes with more fat and more protein, and then a lot of carbs as well, like with breads and pastas and all that stuff. So that's kind of funny to me. But those are Virgoan themes, the health and the food intake changes. But also, the main thing I want to impress upon us in this time is that we should be keeping our projects in order. We should be analyzing what projects have we started. So this can be our career. This can be all of our routines, because Virgo is the master of routines and of keeping multiple plates in the air at one time, doing multiple projects at the same time. So this Scorpio season, where we're in a deep emotional natural nature, and we're trying to find the root of everything. This is the Plutonic emphasis, where Pluto is the root of most plants because he rules the underworld. So if you were to pull a potato out of the ground, you're working with Pluto's domain right there, the underworld, literally underneath the earth. So Scorpio naturally likes to find the roots of things. So we should take this emphasis on finding the roots of problems and use it on the Virgoan theme of all of our different projects that we've been working on. So like I said, this can be your main projects like career, family, loving, like relationships, partnerships, friendships. So in this time, we're naturally going to be drawn to figure out, why am I in this partnership? What is the root of this partnership? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And the Scorpio can also start to bring vengeance and backbiting, and this is when relationships can go through test phases and transformations, because both parties are naturally trying to figure out, why have we been doing this? What's the real reason that we're in a relationship? This is when people kind of wake up, so to speak, like, holy shit, winter's coming, and I've been doing all this shit just thinking I was innocent and had no idea, but now there's no more innocence. When you enter Scorpio, the innocence disappears. You start to really look at the unsavory and the underbelly and the roots of everything. So with the Virgoan influence of the sextile, the lunar influence is going to be internal. So internally, with this sextile to Virgo, we should be thinking about our projects and our goals and the different routines, health, and everything that we do, and trying to get to the bottom of those. Like, is this routine that I've been doing actually effective towards my main goal, towards my ambitions, towards my objectives that I've set for myself? And then you can start to organize them properly based on priority. This is something that's beautiful during this time period. So you can say, it's a bigger priority for me to make sure that I keep my pantry stocked up with herbs and teas and other things that are going to keep my immune system healthy, right? I'm just making an example. It's a bigger thing for me to do that than it is for me to... That priority takes precedent over me hanging out with friends. So if I need to stock my pantry, I can't just go hang out with friends. The stocking the pantry needs to happen first, then I can go hang out with friends. It's stuff like that. You have to choose which thing's more important. That's just an example. Okay, so that's the Virgo influence. So we're starting to categorize and prioritize our projects, to look at all the different things we've been working on and that we naturally do, and to see what's at the bottom of them all and which ones we need to keep instilling. Then if we look at Capricorn, Capricorn is about your wealth, your status, your position within society, your ability to create and to build projects. So it's another earthy theme. And so during this time, people are naturally going to be thinking about internally, because this is a sextile, which is a lunar aspect. Lunar governs the internal, the inner nature, the psyche, and the emotions of the human. So during this time, it's going to be good to thinking about building your empire. Good to be thinking about building your empire. So how can you make your status that you want set in the world? How can you build the business that you want? How can you build your relationship the way that you want? All of those themes are going to come in with Capricorn. And how can you leverage your status to get things that you want? How can you leverage your relationships with other people to get things that you want? Capricorn and Virgo are both extremely transactional signs. And with Scorpio as the mediator, as the actual placement of the sun right now between these two sextiles, it's going to be, people are naturally going to be in this energy of transacting with others. This could be, doing drug deals. This could be just relationship and emotional transactions. And so now's the time to make sure that all of the relationships and the negotiations that you're in matter and serve a purpose for you and serve something towards your greater goals and ambitions. All right, so that'll close the sextile portion. Now we're moving on to the trines. And trines are 120 degree angles. They're also a benefic or a positive aspect. And they are a solar influence, which is expressional, external. It's about your shine and your glow, your radiation outwards. And so the trines to Scorpio are the other two water signs. Cancer, 120 degrees before Scorpio, and Pisces, 120 degrees after. So these are going to be the way that we should be acting outwardly to the world. So internally, we're scheming. We're using Virgo and we're using Capricorn to work, to think about building our empire and what stands in our way to build the empire, what is important for us to build the empire, what are the objectives, the goals, the strategies. And we're thinking about our routines and our health that are going to build towards that, setting us up for winter. And in the current time period, we're taking all those mutable effects of our environment that Virgo governs and figuring out how to use them for our benefit and how to operate within them, right? So that's going on internally. Everybody's naturally scheming right now, right? Externally, pushing out, people are going to be showing emotions because we have the other two water signs, Cancer and Pisces. So people are going to be having emotional outbursts. If they get into a bad Cancerian or Scorpionic energy, things are going to boil over. Because Scorpios and Cancers both naturally hold in emotions if they're in an unevolved or if they're in just a trying period of their life, and just generally they do that. Because they both are shelled creatures with a carapace, with an outer protective layer. And so Scorpio season is always a time where you can expect to see, and you guys can report back to me as I continue to make videos or leave a comment in this one if you see it, but this Scorpio season is when you'll see blow-ups and emotional outbursts and relationships come to an end and transformations of all kinds happen. People quit their jobs and make a big scene about it before they leave, on the last day, right when they quit. All these kind of things can be going on because we're in the watery element. We're in Scorpio, which is water. And that fixed water can hold and repress emotions for a long time. And then when the sun gets there, they shine outwards. The sun only shines. It doesn't gather anything. The sun just projects outwards, right? So people are going to be projecting outwards their emotions that they've been held up, especially because now we think about the relationship between the sun and the moon. The sun being the trines, the moon being the sextiles. The moon is scheming and thinking about how it needs to act in the world to build its empire and to effectively schedule its routines. The sun is emotionally acting outwards. So when will the blow-ups happen? When somebody gets in the way of your routines. And then you're going to, in Scorpio season, the sign of the backbiter of Judas Iscariot, which is the thumbnail that I set for this video, Judas, the backstabber of Jesus in the myth of the Bible. This is a time when people have retaliatory and vengeful feelings towards one another, and it's because they're getting in the way of the practicality of the routine. And also it could be emotional wounds that finally come to the surface. So in this time period, the way that we want to orient our actions, our expression, our radiation outwards, our shine and our glow, is by understanding, by accepting that this is a time for showing emotions. A lot of people don't like to accept that at all. But when we're in a water sign, and we have the trine to two water signs as well, Cancer and Pisces, we're naturally going to show emotions whether we do it good or bad. Okay? So we have to accept this is a time of year, this is one of the signs that the sun goes through, one of the three water signs, where we're going to show emotions whether we like it or not. So we should accept that, and we should start to learn how to internally process these emotions so that when they come out in a balanced way. So during this time period, being grateful for what you have and being in a more Zen or Stoic mindset, which is a martial philosophy. A lot of warriors are Stoic or they're Spartan in their mindset, meaning they don't allow, this is perfect, we need to adopt a Stoic mindset. The Stoic or the Spartan person doesn't allow anything that he can't control to overly influence him. So the Stoic person will say, like Marcus Aurelius, yes, I'm a slave right now, but there's nothing that I can do about that. That's outside of my control. So while I'm a slave, I'm going to do what's most beneficial to me. I'm going to actually work hard during my time as a slave, during my labor during the day, because that will build my body and my discipline, and because it will show to my overlords, so to speak, that I'm doing a good job. But mostly for the benefits that it has. The Stoic cares mostly for the benefits it has for themselves. So yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yes, we should adopt. Why a Stoic philosophy during this time of year? Because if you're not Stoic, any bullshit you gain from other people is going to cause some kind of emotional reaction, and usually a vengeful and a stabbing one that has venom to it. You'll find that you're naturally more able to sting people with your words. You can say stuff that for all the other months of the year, you would have held that back. You wouldn't have told the person exactly what you thought. But during this part of the year, you may actually spit the venom that you always wanted to keep back, and you'll just say it flat out. You won't even butter it up at all. That's what can happen during this time period. So it's important to keep an eye on that. Oh, nice. What's up, Guantanamera? Nice to see you. Okay, so we got that. Boom. So Cancer, the keyword for Cancer for these trines, for this solar trine, is new campaigns. If you look I would get the tarot deck, but it's over there. If you look in the tarot cards, Cancer is the Chariot card. So it's a guy riding on his chariot, setting out on a new campaign, right? So this is a time to start your new campaigns that will use that internal will to build a new empire, Capricorn, or to establish your status. And the Virgoan, choosing routines and balancing many things at one time, keeping order of your health, your routines, your daily activities, right? So with that in mind, the Cancer influence, one of the energies that you can decide to shine out with is starting a new campaign. So making steps towards the new campaigns. With me being a Cancer, I'm doing a new campaign right now at the beginning of Scorpio season, which is using a microphone that I set up, figuring out how to have a webcam and a computer going at the same time, and doing a live stream, right? So I'm setting out on a new campaign that's going to help me build my empire and that has my daily routines in order. This now takes priority. Me doing these live streams or making videos in this new way now takes priority. And the campaign included getting a better back feng shui, getting a better look too, you know? So I'm devoting myself more to the campaign of making YouTube videos. In the past, I may have fallen off and stopped making YouTube videos after like 5, which was my pattern before. But now I've decided that it's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm using that Mars energy of Scorpio and that tarot card of the Chariot in Cancer to set off on a new journey with intention and action during this Scorpio season. And then Piscean, this is a great time to follow your soul journey and to transform your soul, so your internal work, because this is all the nature of Pisces, and also to give rise to your dreams and creativity. So this is actually a great time of year to be creative. With the Capricorn and the Cancer energy as well, if you decide to, because solar is what you want to do, so Piscean is one way that you can choose to shine. So you can choose to shine by setting a new campaign, like Cancer. You can choose to shine by being the martial warrior of Scorpio. Or you can choose to shine by being creative and following your dreams, by putting new dreams into reality, by painting, by making music, by making crafts, which would get into the Virgoan and the Capricornian energy as well. All of these different things. Any kind of dreams, creativity, illusions. Also, it could be a good time if you guys are well off and you don't think that this month requires you to get into your Emperor energy to start a new empire with the Capricorn or to go on a new campaign. If that's not what this season's feeling like for you, if you want to sit back in the Scorpio energy, let this retrograde play out, let this blue moon play out, and you're chilling, then this is a great time to get into something that feeds your soul. Like, do some of that artwork that you like to do. Listen to some great music. Watch some movies with some great themes to them. That's something else you can do. It all depends on how you want to play this rhythm. So if you want to get into the Piscean nature, eat some sweet foods. Beautify your house so that it has more flow and more beauty to it. Get into some creative artwork. Take some time to imagine a future for yourself. So that's another way that you can shine. That will have a positive benefic aspect because that's a trine to Scorpio if you want to tap into that Piscean energy. Yeah. So basically that covers the main parts of the Scorpio season. So I'll cover some of the actual astrological placements. So right now we have, I'm just going off memory here, we have Mercury at 5 degrees Scorpio retrograde. So I'm not sure how many days that'll take, but probably in 4 days on the 27th or 28th, right before the new moon, that is when he'll probably ingress or regress into Libra. So that's when the last bit of the relationship stuff will take place. You may get a call from an old relationship, an old lover, an old person, right around the new moon, the blue moon, the full moon, which happens on Halloween. You might find yourself going back in your head over old relationships when that happens. But for now, Mercury, for the next 4 or 5 days, Mercury will still be at the beginning of Scorpio. So it's going to be more of the same, more of what you've been feeling already in this time period, which is likely deep thoughts about how you've been acting in the world and about the nature of your soul, what's happening in the world, all of these kind of themes. Venus is at about 24 or 25 degrees Virgo, and that's a debilitation of Venus. So she's going to be leaving Virgo within the next couple weeks and going into her rulership sign of Libra. So a lot of flourishing of Venusian energy is going to occur in the next couple weeks. So it's going to be a big sigh of relief when Venus goes into Libra, especially for the first portion, because all the cardinal signs are danger zones right now because of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn in the late degrees between 20 and 25 degrees. I believe Jupiter's at 19 degrees now. So in any cardinal sign, that's going to make an opposition or a square to that. But we won't have to worry about that with Venus entering Libra until she gets more than halfway through the sign. So that'll be another month or two before she'll be squaring those Capricorn placements, right? So look for the love, friendship, and good-natured relationships. Look for that to increase, and for people not to be so critical about relationships coming up as Venus moves into Libra in the next couple weeks. Then we have, right now the moon is in early Aquarius, which is making a square to Mercury and the sun as we speak. So the moon's making a square and it's in Aquarius. Let me think about what that would be. Moon in Aquarius, the revolutionary sign, making a square to Scorpio and Mercury. Yeah, I don't think that one's too important. It's flowing over us as we speak. It's almost past it. And then let's not talk about the moon. Let's move on to Mars. Mars is still retrograde in Aries at about the high teen degrees. I think maybe 18 or 17 degrees Aries. So he's in a rulership, but he's that caged wolf. He can't wait to get out on November 13th. And if you remember back to my, if you've seen my channeling, my world messages channeling videos, I got in 2 different channeled message videos that the election is going to be postponed, the results, from November 3rd to at least November 13th. I haven't asked for any more confirmation on that, but usually my messages ring true. So that's something that we could be looking forward to. The last presidential debate was last night. So yeah, don't be surprised if the presidential debate doesn't play out, because Mars retrograde energy, he's not moving forward. But as soon as he starts moving forward on the 13th, that's when these things can play out. So I would not be surprised if I were you guys if the election is postponed, the results. Then we have, I already talked about Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. We won't talk about Neptune and Uranus. So yeah, basically it looks like we have 8 viewers. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer questions. And other than that, I'll just use my intuition, see if anything else needs to be covered. But yeah, if you guys want me to talk about anything, you have any questions, they can be personal, they can be about me, they can be wanting me to answer stuff, just let me know. And other than that, I'll intuitively, I can't wait to go make some pasta right after this. I've got some organic Durham semolina spaghetti, and a red sauce with some mushrooms that I can't wait to cook up after this. I got a little tea here. So yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. This was the first live stream. I'm sure it'll grow as we go. Anything at all, peoples? What else can I talk about to fill air here? What else to talk about? There are electric currents shooting out of your head. I wonder how literal are you being there, Guantanamera? I've got a lot of crystals pointing at me right now. I took time off. Oh, I haven't showed you guys this. I'll show you guys a Labradorite. This one's shaped kind of like a shield. That was one of the reasons why I liked it. But see the rainbow flash on that? There we go. I'll get it up closer too. So yeah, it's got this flash on it. And then on the back side, I wonder if I can get this flash to show. There's some beautiful purple on the... Oh, there it was. Look up here at the top. It's like a purple-blue flash that I really love that comes out of it. There it was a little bit. But anyways, this is a really good one for psychic journeying. Because, see, any stone that has black or gray, like this... So another one would be shungite, obviously, is black. I don't have any other black ones up here now, but any stone that has black or gray, a darker color to it, will always be good at absorbing and repelling, depending on the sign, negative energy. And so Labradorite, with all this rainbow flash, one thing to know about Labradorite is if you know the color of your 7 chakras, the bottom one's red, it's called the root, the sacral's orange, the solar plexus is yellow, sacral's 2 inches below the belly button, solar plexus is at the rib cage where it comes up towards your heart. Then your heart chakra is green, throat is blue, indigo third eye, crown is purple. So depending on which Labradorite you get, this one has more of a yellow and orange emphasis to it, but it also has greens and blues. It really has the whole spectrum besides red. It'll emphasize the different chakras. So if you get a Labradorite that's only purple and blue as the flash of it mainly, then that's going to be very good for your psychic journeying, for your both your telepathy, which is the purple, and your intuition or your visionary abilities, which is the pineal gland, the intuition. So yeah, and so I picked this one because I wanted some more passionate energy too. The orange and yellow at the bottom. I wanted some more passionate and creative energy from the Labradorite, since it's going to be pointing at me during videos. Not only the clairvoyant, because I have amethyst and fluorite, and this new one. This is rare. This was only found a year ago in the whole world, and it's called... I want to get it. There you go. It's called Amazez. And so it's an Azez stone, which is an Azezio or an Azez stone, which is a certain frequency. There's a whole spiritual group called the Azez that supposedly left these stones around the world. And they have this is another one. This one's from North Carolina, where I'm living currently, called Azeztulite. And this is a pendant. So I've got 2 Azez stones, and they're frequent. This one, oh, that stone wanted to say hi. Sorry for that noise. This one, I could feel it buzzing from outside from before I even opened the package when it arrived, and it's increased my vibration extremely the whole time. Even holding it now, I can feel it, and it has some amethyst in it. That's why there's those purple streaks, and it has some smoky quartz. But it's a whole different frequency than either of those. Way more powerful than amethyst. Way more powerful than the clear quartz that it has. And this was found in, I believe, South Africa. And like I said, it's a recent discovery. Before that, they were unknown. People probably had them, but they thought they were normal amethyst and quartz. So that was cool to show. What else? Let me see. What should I do anything else? Should I end the video? Because this was a good Scorpio season synopsis. I think I covered things. I always like to give value that other people don't give, and I haven't heard anybody talk about the sextiles being lunar, the trines being solar, and then giving in-depth examples about how you can choose to internally think, whether that be building an empire for Capricorn or setting up all of your different all of the different things you have in the fire, prioritizing and choosing your routines properly and analyzing them. And then the options of what energy you can give off. You can be the martial Scorpio who's intentional, man with a plan, man or woman with a plan, doesn't have time for others. Or you can be the Piscean dreamer, creative. Or you can be the Cancerian setting off on a new campaign, a new journey filled with emotional passion. Let me see, is there anything else to share with the people? Alright, they say I should channel a quick little message here. I'm hearing, I don't even know who's channeling through, but I'm hearing that a lot of people's new moon manifestations that are culminating in this blue moon on Halloween on October 31st are going to come to fruition. So people shouldn't worry about that. If you set any intentions or did any magic on the new moon, that stuff's likely coming. Yeah, I don't want to share that one. Nah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to share that one. That's an interesting one. Okay, guys. I think that I am done here. Thank you so much for stopping by, all of you guys. This is the last call for questions, and it's been 36 minutes. So that's a long time. Long, good, substantial video. So last call for questions. If not, I'm going to end this so that it still makes a decent video, whether people caught it live or not. And I'm going to head out. 3, 2, 1. Here, I'll let you guys see the tapestry real quick. Alright, y'all. Catch you next time. Ranulf signing out.